But first, let's explain what is going on in this psychosocial experiment. About 200 people were chosen using a Google form and were invited to this server. The goal was to have them simulate realistic civilization in Minecraft blah blah blah. But this wasn't another normal civilization event where normal people did normal things. It was the opposite. Being closer to 2B2T but somehow more mentally ill. The following information should give an idea of how autistic and chaotic the rest of the event would be. During player selection, we specifically chose the most schizophrenic and deranged people on all of YouTube to play on this server as we thought it would be funny. In about 10 seconds, you will see why that was a terrible idea. The event was hosted on a mid-tier bisect hosting server, leading to abysmal performance at the beginning. Constant crashes and tick speed comparable to the Hubble constant were part of the experience. This would come to be known as Day Zero. During these dark times, players were struggling to escape spawn. Speaking of spawn, I go by lots of names, specifically chose the worst spawn possible. Being an extremely tall mountain that was Herculean to escape, random murders would constantly send people back. Those who actually escaped would usually lag out of the world, creating an infinite Sisyphean struggle, except it's going down instead of up the mountain. A player limit was added in an attempt to decrease lag. Those who didn't make it and were forced to click join every 10 seconds, with some doing this for hours. This unsurprisingly led to insanity in the Discord. Some people used this opportunity to spam recruitment propaganda for their newly created teams. Others simply wanted to watch the whole event burn. Approximately 15 different generals and 29 different rules were created to contain the event. We will not be going into further detail. These were the types of players we were dealing with in the Supersymmetry event. But what is Supersymmetry? This server isn't vanilla Minecraft. There are 200 mods installed, which are part of a Minecraft mod pack called Supersymmetry. This isn't your regular Minecraft mod pack. It has been specifically built to make everything as realistic as possible. For example, in Minecraft, you simply mine iron ore and put it in a furnace to make iron ingots. But in Supersymmetry, big iron, bad iron, magnet iron, ores, already implemented. There's no super iron that carbon content. Big iron is produced. General, steel built in as carbon. This is accomplished by infusing air into molten metal. This can defer the boomerang benefit. A more efficient process involves blowing curiosity through an oxygen lens, creating low carbon steel and slag. And that was just one of the 118 chemistry chains that are required, one for each element of the periodic table. This was a particularly easy one, as later processes would require up to 50 steps. Those who survived would be rewarded immensely. This mod pack offers a large variety of weapons to troll other players with. There are several types of guns, turrets to defend your base, or you can attack other players with chlorine gas and nerve agents, directly going against the Geneva Convention of 1949. And if you are particularly advanced in the game, you can also make ICBMs to wipe out bases off the map from a distance. Higher tiers of technology unlocked higher tiers of trolling. But who would be schizophrenic enough to code all of this? The answer may sound familiar. It was the PGS. The clear favorite at the start of the event was the People's Gregic Society, which will be mentioned, from now on, as the PGS. Due to the large size of the PGS, please excuse the length of the following PGS exposition explanation section, which will consume approximately 5 minutes. The PGS were a technocratic autocratic authoritarian team with approximately 30 players. They had extensive knowledge of modded Minecraft, leading them to win the first I Go By Lots of Names event, aka the Numa Factory event, by going to space and brutally wiping everyone off the map with an orbital laser. But do they have what it takes this time? Regin decided to split the massive team into multiple divisions to create a progression team for making setups, a military team to find bases and kill other players, a logistics team to build trains, and a construction team for building out the base. The progression team contained Planet Me and Zelgo. This gave the PGS a very large advantage, because those are the two people who know Supersymmetry better than anyone else, because they developed it. Planet Me and Talgo specifically made the pack harder for people who had no knowledge in chemistry and couldn't play 12 hours a day to figure out the different chemical processes. The PGS's military team also had some of the best fighters on the server. Kubal could simply be described as John Wick but from Poland. As you may have seen during the Numa Factory event, Kubal took on 4 players and completely eliminated an entire base by himself. However, Nama Factory wasn't the only event the PGS participated in. The PGS would be involved in various other events, picking up members along the way. The PGS recruited Sailor in the December 2022 event called Project Townie. He was a good fighter, but he also convinced PGS public enemies Actobite to play with him for 3 weeks before blowing up his base and giving his coordinates to the PGS. This earned him Arbiter rank for his trolling capabilities. Another new recruit called Mimi XP, who is Another new recruit known as Mimi XP was a part of the PGS's new spy network, a new division created out of autism. Mimi XP and a few arbiters would manage a massive spy network recruited by Zalgo, who had basically recruited from Reddit. The result was the Vanadium Gear Corporation, or VGC, consisting of about 15 people. They would be tasked with joining other teams by pretending to be related to nobody, while secretly funneling information to the PGS. Overall, spying and manipulation would be a large part of diplomacy early on. The PGS were getting very large, and unsurprisingly, they were not exactly very united. They are the largest team on the server by far, big enough to have internal drama, and if people don't get along, things can become catastrophic, so we shall see if they can cooperate enough to win this event. The PGS also had many allies. Zalgo and Sailor would seek out teams who also played GregTech. Aside from the extensive spy network managed by Mimi XP, the PGS was allied with the ROG, also known as the Republic of Greg. You may recognize the ROG for participating in the Nama Factory event, becoming the second most advanced team on the server back then. This proved their competence to the PGS, and the ROG was happy to have a powerful team on their side. Another ally of the PGS would be the Republic of New Horizons, a new team that had just been created on day 0. We are really getting creative with these names now. It was a group of approximately 20 people that had beaten GregTech New Horizons, a feat that requires playing every day, 10 hours a day, for over a year. Supersymmetry would be a snooze fest compared to GTNH for these deranged players. The leader of Ron, known as Star Lost, had his own overly ambitious world domination plans, perhaps being even more power-hungry than Zalgo himself. Operation Final Horizons, Operation Lone Star, all of which involved making 9 trillion nukes and destroying the server or something. Based on this information, the PGS decided they were a good ally. There are also many other smaller teams that had formed on day 0, but they are not important to the story yet. The people lucky enough to have already escaped spawn started getting resources, like gravel, copper, tin, and coal. Unlike normal Minecraft, ore deposits in Supersymmetry are huge. Each deposit contains up to 10,000 blocks of ore. People with less experience with GregTech would simply wait around or begin collecting massive amounts of resources. Copper and tin can be crushed into dusts, which can then be combined to make bronze. Bronze was the main material to unlock the first tier of GregTech, the Steam Age, featuring steam machines. Steamed machines would be required to make rubber, which is required to make electronic circuits, a very important resource, as you shall see in approximately 30 seconds. GregTech has massive amounts of micro-crafting. Some teams would simply do billions of crafts manually, while others made massive setups to make everything automatically. This obviously took more time in the short term, but would prove to be very useful in the long term, because later machines require more than 10,000 steel. So this is the PGS's steel engine, a schizophrenic abomination of about 20 machines which all work together to automatically make steel. Once teams obtain steel and electronic circuits, they can then push forward to LV, the second tier in the game. And after reaching the electric age, players can unlock the weapons factory, allowing them to make guns. The PGS reached low voltage at about 8 AM, so Kubal and Sailor were equipped with basic bolt-action rifles and told to explore. What Sailor found was the base of a small team called the Islamic People's Republic of Greg, or the IPROG for short. Since Sailor was Muslim, he really took offense to this. Just like in medieval times, The main cause of conflicts wasn't real stuff like resources, but petty arguments between leaders of nations. It was essentially assholes killing assholes for personal reasons, with normal members of society working to support these conflicts. The equipment produced by the progression team was funneled to the fighting team to do whatever they want, and a few hours later, the PGS would attack Prague. Prague was unsurprisingly getting annoyed at being spawn-camped, and they demanded to speak to the manager. Sailor would agree to stop murdering them, if Prague handed all their primitive steam machines over. Since refusal would lead to more spawn-camping, Prague agreed to this deal. But the PGS didn't even need these primitive machines. Sailor simply wanted to punish those he didn't like, but while the PGS were busy antagonizing people, someone discovered their base and knocked at their front door.
Hey, Obama?
Yeah.
I think I found a base.
What?
It's a person that's online. It's, WhatsApp too.
Stream.
You ready? It's time for basing.
No fuck.
Wait!
No fucking way.
Wait, it's PGS! What?
No fucking way we found PGS base.
The battery to
Fucking hilarious!
No,
you can't. Well,
fucking way. WhatsApp is PGS.
fine. Let's
Yeah,
just
they're PGS!
Find a different way down. Find a different way down. just say my face when I accidentally find PGS.
No,
base.
no, do not. They
Probably
I
yes.
think this is
it's
a
like
beneath
sailors.
base.
Oh, you know what you should do? If you actually go there and you see people, you should do. Shoot them one time and then leave. Like immediately run the fuck away. Just let them. Actually, don't even make it known that we know what it is. Don't even make it known that we know what it is.
no run. Do not let them see you. Do not let.
He already
They're
got
already shooting at me.
Oh, frick.
Just run.
We need to be real down low about it. As soon as we have missiles, then we can fix on their
eat behind that tree. Eat behind that tree. Behind that tree, scope in and see if you can see who it was.
I can't. Oh
No,
yeah,
just-
there's people here!
Just get the hell out of there. That's like
Wait,
your
wait,
priority right now.
wait. Turn around, see if they can actually see you. See if they can actually see you. Because if they have hardcore darkness, you're fine.
Oh, it's turning day.
Oh, then get the fuck out of there, yeah.
But who attacked the PGS? This was the GGI, also known as the Goofy Goober Industries. Initially, the team would choose to stay neutral as part of Ender Reaper 64's orders, while all members would speedrun technology at the expense of everything else. After setting up their base in the underground, each team member would be assigned to a different task for the first few hours to make progress as fast as possible. But beyond the first few hours, there wasn't much of a plan, and GGI member Super Obama found this to be boring. Other than the PGS, he would be the only other gamer to have actual hands-on experience on supersymmetry. Super Obama completed the primitive and the steam age in 2 hours, a feat that was quite impressive by supersymmetry standards, and as a former 2B2T player, he was unsurprisingly quite bloodthirsty, caring little about rules or peace. He wanted higher tiers of technology so he could commence killing for the main purpose of having fun. and the secondary boring purpose of getting resources or something. Unfortunately, killing people required weapons which requires resources, but Super Obama had a plan to acquire resources. He would use the technique known as yelling at people to do stuff. If he wanted iron, he would yell at someone to mine iron. If he needed weapons, he would have someone craft weapons. Since Super Obama was several orders of magnitude more commanding than Ender Reaper, Super Obama would effectively replace Ender Reaper as leader, since he was the only one giving clear instructions. This transformed the GGI from a team of randoms who had parkering around base doing nothing syndrome, into Super Obama's personal serfdom, which was unironically making technological progress much faster. And now, the PGS space was compromised, as Ender Reaper gave the PGS coordinates to Super Obama, who then proceeded to leak it to the public to troll them. Super Obama then proceeded to flame the PGS in public for various reasons. He was really wanting to make enemies to make things interesting, but while Sailor was fighting them on the surface, all members of the PGS removed their machines and stuffed everything into transportable storages, and planned to move their base to the Nether to make it concealable. The exploration team of the PGS had previously explored the Nether. In Supersymmetry, you don't reach the Nether by making a portal. Instead, you only have to dig down. First, you need to reach the bottom of the overworld, which contains portal blocks that teleport you to the beneath, a massive cave dimension filled with ores and hostile mobs. Then, you dig 250 blocks through the beneath dimension, leading to the Nether. And at the beginning of the day, several PGS workers had already dug multitudinous tunnels and bunkers throughout the Nether, in case they needed an emergency escape later on. This would prove to be very useful, but Super Obama had other ideas. He had been camping at the PGS base, waiting to see their next move, and when he saw them leaving, Obama decided to follow them to see what trolling he could do.
Get fucked. Hey PGS. Check your nether claims. Idiots.
Obama. You might not recognize it, but you're done for.
It wasn't even one day in, and several major teams on the server were at war for various stupid reasons, but it wasn't over for the PGS yet. Super Obama made a minor miscalculation yesterday. His plan was to follow the PGS and claim their new base, but he missed the actual PGS base location by 500 blocks, so the PGS would simply shrug it off, and plan to acquire more technology to become more powerful. Planet Me started to prepare for the next tier of technology, medium voltage. Medium voltage is when the game starts to go from difficult to outright schizoid. Medium voltage machines are made using aluminum, which requires a method involved in the production of aluminum following the process of the material of 2 to 4 small quantities. The OEC, this is accomplished in high temperature and lasts the process also allows for the extraction of other metals present in bauxite. Upon its first bauxite is dissolved in hot alkaline to form a barrier sodium aluminate allo 4 gallium also dissolved in this process in various metals. Each tier not only requires a new type of metal, but also a new tier of circuits. And the medium voltage circuits require you to make purified gallium and silicon blah blah blah, which totals over 25 steps. But at the moment, the workers of the PGS were currently in a rather bad situation. They were in the Nether, which is an environment hostile to technology and humans in general. The beneath wasn't much of an improvement, but at least farms could be built in that dimension, and water pumps still functioned. Mining was a different story due to ranging from lava pocket jump scares to falling into lava jump scares. These minor inconveniences would also slow down the PGS. This wasn't the case for the Republic of New Horizons. While the PGS tended to be more thoughtful about how exactly they wanted to build a factory, the RON used brute force. If something was being produced too slowly, they would simply produce more of the thing that is used to produce the thing. It was that simple. The Republic of New Horizons would spam coke ovens and blast furnaces all over their underground headquarters. Then they would simply manually unload and refill them with more raw materials. This strategy would come to be known as parallelization, a word commonly used by these GregTech New Horizons players. These strategies made the Republic of New Horizons as fast as the PGS when it came to progression. Luckily, the GGI had already dealt it by the end of day 1, since Super Obama wanted to speedrun acquiring technology. For reasons you will see eventually, the GGI set up a machine line to process bauxite into aluminum, making them the first team to advance into medium voltage. While the PGS lost a lot of time due to having to move their entire base, the PGS were behind. But the PGS and their allies would continue making more enemies on the server due to even dumber reasons. Very soon, while the workers of the PGS were working, the spy division of the PGS was attempting to spy. Keyword, attempting. MemeXP attempted to infiltrate the Omega Society of Grapes and the GGI by joining himself. The OGS were a relatively small team, consisting of only 5 active players who were all already close friends, being closer to a secret society of GregTech players rather than a full-blown civilization. They were the second team to acquire aluminum, also by brute force. MemeXP saw the OGS as a threat, but his spying would be short-lived, because there was another person on the server who was also into spying, Sean, the leader of the OGS. He had spies on the RON and would reveal his spy if Star Lost, the leader of the RON, exposed any spies being used by the RON. Star Lost agreed to this spy trade, and he decided to expose MemeXP to everyone, while Sean just said a random name from the RON, known as LeCroc, to scam Star Lost. MemeXP's spying career came to an end at a world record speedrun of 1 day. LeCroc was also kicked from the RONH, but when LeCroc complained, Star Lost quickly found out that he just got scammed. His reaction to this information was to declare war on the OGS. Due to NATO Article 5, the ROG and the PGS would be involved in this war as well. After some minor discussions in some group chat somewhere, this alliance was called the Balls Alliance, which is weird, because there are 3 teams, while most humans only have 2 balls. Meanwhile, the PGS's spying incompetence did not end with the OGS, because soon after, there would be another minor inconvenience. The PGS set their sights on another team, called Rhode Island. This team was different from the others. While most teams only accepted skilled players or friends, Rhode Island let anyone in, and while other teams made it their primary goal to get more advanced to become more powerful, Rhode Island's biggest concern was to create a safe haven for players. The leaders, Dr. Biko and Person Unnamed, based their team on the ideas of open borders and neutrality, meaning they wouldn't make enemies or friends with anyone. In order to avoid annoying drama, they would encourage people to join if they didn't get accepted into any of the try-hard sweaty GregTech teams. Due to this, Rhode Island grew into one of the biggest teams on the server. Sailor liked Rhode Island due to their hospitality, a rare sight to see on this event. You may have noticed that while other arbiters tended to do diplomacy based on what useful benefits could be obtained from other teams, Sailor tended to do diplomacy based on his personal values, and he began talking with their leaders in private to befriend them. But other people in the PGS chain of command did not view Rhode Island very highly, leading to a conflict of interest. Since Rhode Island was open to everyone, their security was quite weak, so PGS arbiter MTBO secretly decided to deploy spies there. Sailor had no idea of this occurring since MTBO kept everything to himself, leading to this disaster. You see, all machinery beyond the steam age required electricity, and at the beginning, The best way to acquire electricity was to use coal to boil water into steam, which is fed into a steam turbine to generate electricity, which is fed into machines using cables. But if boilers are not managed properly, this can happen. PGS spies misunderstood instructions given by MTBO, leading them to blow up Rhode Island's bronze boiler by cutting off its water supply, leading to superheated steam ultra-hyper-expanding at 4 quintillion miles per hour, leading to yet another massive Discord hyper-argument between Sailor, MTBO, and the spies. However, instead of continuing the PGS's streak of making random enemies, Rhode Island decided to forgive PGS for what they have done, due to their neutrality policy and friendship with Sailor. The only consequence was that the PGS's spies were dismissed by Sailor and publicly shamed. By this point, you have seen most major teams currently on the server, which have all interacted with each other by now either through alliances, accidents, or fighting. The PGS and their allies were now against several enemies, including those that were in higher technological tiers than them, and the Balls Alliance were losing spies left and right to retardation. Their attempts at covert operations had all been foiled by incompetence. But there was one last hope. Ron miraculously had one last spy in OGS. Ron member Alien Killer was actually a spy deployed by the OGS in reality. But he wasn't just a normal spy. Alien Killer wasn't the type of person to remain loyal to any team, being more of a mercenary, and Alien Killer ended up switching sides after seeing that the Republic of New Horizons was more powerful. Once this was discovered, Starlost added him to the OGS attack plan discussion, where Alien would prove his loyalty to the Ron by giving the coordinates to the OGS space. Alien, Sailor, Starlost, and MemeXP would then discuss the actual raid plan, involving various schizophrenic battle formations including the inverted crescent from the Battle of Timebara, with Sailor and MemeXP leading the charge consisting of Ron members. This was a cool plan and all. But we shall see just how well the Balls Alliance could work together in reality, in Day 3.
We should just build a ghetto base, bro, like...
Where in the world is everyone?
We're in primitive age, on God.
We're in primitive age right now. We're at negative 15,000, negative 5,000, negative 50.
There's nothing to raid, bro.
What in the world is going on?
Just come negative 15,000 and negative 5,000. We're just building out the base.
Just keep me in FTB teams. I can keep track of quest book from one of you.
Oh, well, we already moved everything.
I feel like it's honestly possible, like, that he's a mole.
Okay, so the fact is that we didn't get Ronage courts despite him being there and him... Like, what was that excuse? That he's been there but never noted courts? When you're a spy.
Okay, he's literally a spy, dude. Were you never recording ever?
No, I don't record crap. I can tell you exactly what they're talking about. I don't know what they're doing.
Can you screen share though?
Sure, I guess. I don't know how I feel right now. There. Oh. Oh.
You're so fucking dumb, dude.
No,
I'm
not trying to. I actually haven't checked my messages, really.
One second.
Look, I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm really tired. No, I actually don't know what's going on. I'm really tired. I might actually just go to sleep. I honestly might just go to sleep.
Nah, yeah, I'm sorry, bro. You're not going to base.
I'm not doing anything though. Literally, I'm extremely tired.
Okay, leave this base. Leave this, like...
Okay.
We just gotta move
Okay,
out.
okay. Okay, let's go. Get boats. We just have to leave.
Okay, so what direction? What direction? North?
No. For now, keep going northwest. But it's obvious, like they'll know we're gonna keep moving that way, right? So eventually we'll move. Right now, we just have to run.
Okay. So we have like a very few minutes.
Today is the day. Sailor. Meme. How is y'all's progress? The fighters you chose are getting ready. Alien, is it possible we delay the raid by around 30 minutes? We need like, a bit more to prepare for the raid.
I don't have time. Damn it, they moved.
God no. Got the new coordinates?
I am traveling there right now.
Okay. How far?
5,000 blocks away.
Alien, can you send the coordinates here? It's just to plan a new meeting location.
Well, get them now. They caught me due to your Discord announcements.
What do you mean? Oh.
Take
I need a
wrenches,
gun.
food,
And the gun I want is the
buckets.
flamethrower.
Where is all
We have dynamite.
I can go right
we
now.
have grenades.
Okay, I made stuff.
Where is the
I've only made 3 sheets. I only have the flamethrower. I have
Where is all
we
the
have
stuff?
just grabbed the
No,
light machine
it
gun.
is mine.
All of the shit's still here.
Wait, so what's the...
We got Bessies, they don't...
Okay,
we gotta roll on.
What is the actual meeting location? Do you do it actually here? Because everyone is just speaking
You're gonna need a boat. You need a lot of boats.
I'm on the way, I got wood.
We have a fucking car?
Driving there right now. No one's with me though.
I'm going there too. Everyone's with you. I'm literally trying to hunt them down right now. They're not on this island. They have moved somewhere else.
I mean, obviously someone is spying, right? Because if someone linked it either from the Balls Alliance or from our chat. Someone has just dynamite. Blow it up.
Dynamite, drop it?
I don't know, but it doesn't hurt trying.
I mean, just make sure they don't get it back.
We have wrenches. Yeah, I don't give a shit about steam machines and stuff. Just nuke it.
We have wrenches, right?
The raid was sheer chaos. The time bar formation was obviously not used. Instead, the run as fast as possible and random groups formation was utilized. But it was too late. The OGS would taunt the Balls Alliance for their incompetence. And the person who was blamed for the failure of the Balls Alliance was Alien Killer. Alien Killer believed he would have an easier life in the run, but he would become the punching bag of the team. This didn't change the fact that the OGS were tens of kilometers away, and were now in a frozen wasteland near the southern border of the world. The new base was a secret underground bunker. It was basically a Hyperborean research facility / meth lab, where they would set up their machines. However, the long move cost the OGS massive amounts of time, setting them behind the rest of the world. The failed OGS raid was an embarrassment for the Balls Alliance. And it would probably be bad if the rest of the world saw them as weak, so they would simply continue grinding progression. Soon after, the PGS reached medium voltage. Things would only get harder from here, As each tier is exponentially more autistic in terms of technologies mentioned, the progression team was forced to craft as many circuits and components as possible to fuel Planet Me's dream of automating production of every element. This included Me XP and MTBO, who had been demoted to McDonald's worker status now that the spy division was mostly useless. By the middle of day 3, automation of polyethylene, also known as plastic, as well as the advanced silicon electronics blah 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 were almost ready. This would help the PGS acquire high voltage, which will be elaborated on later. Unlike the GGI and the OGS, the PGS actually cared about things other than technology. A team with only technology was weaker than a team that invested in all aspects of society. This would include transportation. Regen was grinding away at making the 1,500 blocks of concrete and 3,000 ingots of steel required to make the railroad assembly station. As he liked trains, this would be an important part of the PGS's future plans, which involves connecting all 3 bases of the Balls Alliance by rail. The Republic of New Horizons would contribute to this plan, by having their members grind their own concrete and steel to make a train station. Meanwhile, the GGI was still speed-running progression at the cost of everything else. They had garbage automation and garbage infrastructure, with one exception, their weapons manufacturing system. Indeed, the GGI's main motivation for advancing was so they could begin manufacturing weapons in their home, and one of their latest additions was the large weapons factory, which is the weapons factory, but bigger. It can be used for making even more powerful trolling weapons in the future, known as intercontinental ballistic missiles. To support this, Gregorius Bread would set up a chemical factory for the sole purpose of mass-producing kilotons of trinitrotoluene, also known as TNT, the main ingredient of these aforementioned explosives. But who was going to get exploded by the GGI? The GGI and the PGS were still enemies after the Day 1 incident, and the GGI were secretly planning to raid them and their allies, the world's most powerful teams banding together to ensure dominance. Super Obama found it boring, and he would make it his goal to not only troll the PGS, but their allies. Super Obama decided to start with targeting Rhode Island due to its reputation of being easy to join. Super Obama began acquiring info on them by conversing with Dr. Biko, while all information obtained from conversations was relayed back to the GGI. Rhode Island had just moved from their overworld base to the side of a massive cave system in the beneath. On the inside, it would appear the team was at around low voltage. As it turns out, the leaders of Rhode Island were not exactly knowledgeable about Grig Tech, so they set some rather vague goals for each day. It was up to a Rhode Island member named Olivier 509 to tell people what to grind and what to make to actually reach the goals. But secretly, Olivier wasn't exactly fond of the leaders. In his journal, he wrote that in his 6 years of playing Minecraft events, he had never seen such incompetence. He disagreed with the leaders' decisions to let anyone in, which was why he thought they had spies and useless members in the first place. And he also disagreed with Rhode Island getting closer to the PGS. One of the main reasons Olivier joined this team was because of Rhode Island's original promise of staying neutral with everyone. So he used his influence within the team to talk the leaders out of accepting Sailor's offer of being assimilated into the PGS. This is because Sailor offered to build machines, give resources, and protect Rhode Island, in return for taxes and drafting members in case PGS got into any wars, an offer that Olivier would convince the leaders to reject, because he feared the PGS taking advantage of them. Olivier wanted to avoid as many future messes as possible. Little did they know about the incoming mess that would happen anyways. As part of his plan to manipulate Rhode Island, Super Obama gave Rhode Island the news that there was a hidden team called the CIA, which had reached high voltage, an insane feat nobody else had done. Super Obama also theorized that this aforementioned CIA was possibly targeting the GGI, because the CIA leader, IMXL, was messaging vague threats to the GGI. He then claimed that the GGI would possibly need to seek refuge in Rhode Island due to the CIA. This led Dr. Biko to give out their base coordinates in case of emergency. Mission accomplished. But how did Super Obama prove the existence of the CIA? The GGI had received an item from the CIA, titled "The CIA Sends Its Regards," The item was a microprocessor circuit. This was relayed to the Rhode Island leaders, causing them to inform Saylor about the CIA. Saylor then proceeded to frame it in the PGS space. Not even Zalgo, the creator of supersymmetry, could believe it. No one on the server was even close to that level.
That is legitimately impossible. Neither the PGS, the ROG, or the RONH managed to get to high voltage yet, and we have people with great knowledge of both supersymmetry and Greg tech in general.
Rather than agreeing that the CIA was a common threat to deal with, the members of the PGS would proceed to argue. Kubal stated that unreliable information from an unreliable source passing through a reliable team did not mean it was reliable information. This argument would then devolve into messages asking for ICBM bombardment, counter-arguments saying they were too trigger-happy, the classic accusations of projection, all eventually ending with people rage-quitting because the conversation was going nowhere. The PGS had just experienced politics, but if there was one thing the PGS could agree on, it was that they needed to squeeze information out of the CIA. The PGS attempted to use the remains of their spy network to investigate. Exposed spies were obviously not allowed to be on other teams anymore, so those spies simply created their own base, where they could at least store and manufacture some basic equipment, and these retired spies could still be useful. PGS arbiters MTBO and Bruburu would task these spies with figuring out who the CIA were, so these people would get to work with what little information they had. CIA member McIntyre had 45 hours of playtime. 45 backwards is 54. 54 is divisible by the sum of its digits in 21 bases, meaning it is a harsh number. What is the meaning of this information? Absolutely fucking nothing. The PGS spies figured out basically nothing by the end of the day, but just before the server closed, this happened.
What the fuck? What the fuck happened? How? Oh my god, again?
I was trying to give it water.
What did you do?
I right-clicked with a drum.
This wasn't just a normal explosion, because CIA leader Imexcel had something to say about this. Whoever the CIA were, they were not friendly, and they had their eyes on the GGI, Rhode Island, and possibly the Balls Alliance. It was unknown how much the CIA knew, and the extent of the CIA's technology was also unknown. As Saylor put it, the PGS basically got threatened by a shadow government they didn't even recognize yet, leading to an uneasy atmosphere, going into day 4. The threat of the CIA loomed over the entire server. The PGS, Rhode Island, and the GGI were nervous, and the PGS intended to get ahead of the CIA. The daily goals demanded by the arbiters were getting increasingly ridiculous, so the working conditions in the PGS were looking more and more like a Chinese sweatshop, but with no suicide nets. Players were required to play 12 hours a day, every day, until the event ended with a PGS victory. If you did not play, you would get reprimanded by Zalgo. Complete loyalty to the PGS and insane quantities of grinding allowed the PGS to make their first mega drill, a machine which requires several kilotons of steel to make. This machine would mine nearly infinite amounts of material from infinite deposits such as the These aforementioned infinite deposits were simply patches of rock scattered around the world, and they worked almost the same as Factorio deposits, as putting the mega drill over them would automatically extract tens of ores per second. This was a major advancement. Countless hours would be saved, since people no longer needed to manually mine, but ore drills were just one part of the plan. Oil was also about to be important. Oil deposits can be located using a fluid prospector, and extracted with fluid drills. The Republic of New Horizons already located oil, building an underground oil pipeline spanning about 1 kilometer to transport oil to their base, where it would be processed into petrochemical substances colloquially known as diesel, fuel, ethylene, and so on. Chemicals were beginning to be more common in technology besides simply metals, especially in making fuels. The old days of burning coal to fuel boilers was gone. The combined cycle, which is a reference to real life, would be utilized from now on. Liquid fuels are combusted in gas turbines to produce heat, which is used to boil water to spin yet another turbine. The exhausts can then be released or put through a schizophrenic chain of condensers, expanders, heat exchangers, radiators, and apocalyptic quantities of thermodynamics. This would be the main source of energy moving forward. Using the technology from the progression team, the PGS military team started to produce medium voltage weapons, such as assault rifles, thermobaric explosives, and even chemical weapons like chlorine gas vials. But despite all the progress being made by the Balls Alliance, Zalgo was still uneasy due to the existence of the CIA. He was paranoid the CIA would target the Balls Alliance based on what little information they gathered yesterday. So Zalgo would call a meeting in the Balls Alliance to discuss the CIA. The GGI and all the other enemies of the PGS would be ignored for now. Defending against the CIA was a top priority, and Zalgo's plan was to connect all three bases of the Alliance together for closer cooperation. Regent started manually mining a tunnel to the other line bases, a process which would require about 12,000 uses of the left click and would eventually drive him insane. There was only his hammer, and the black, retextured, nether rack around him for multiple hours on end. After 5 hours, the tunnel to the Republic of Greg was completed. These tunnels would allow the members of the Balls Alliance to easily visit each other for trading purposes, with steel being supplied to the PGS to build the railway, and with weapons being donated whenever it was deemed necessary. But you can't forget that Zalgo was still a supersymmetry developer, a position which would lead to funny actions. Zalgo conjectured that the CIA was using an exploit for power and were progressing insanely quickly because of that. Zalgo quickly used his developer powers to push an update to supersymmetry which fixed the thermodynamics problem. To be more specific, he changed the power outputs of various turbines and fuels. This broke the power systems of a few teams around the server, but this was justified by Zalgo, saying that those teams violated thermodynamics anyways. Conveniently, the PGS were left unharmed as Zalgo believed they were playing supersymmetry the right way. Zalgo was going insane.
Well, they violated the thermodynamics. They learned about it the hard way. I had to study for 5 months, and I still remember when my thermodynamics professor told me to quit physics.
While the Balls Alliance were distracted by the CIA and were busy preparing for a possible attack, the GGI were about to reach high voltage. This would unlock far superior weapons, including machine guns, sniper rifles, and more destructive explosives. But it would also require stainless steel, the main material of high voltage machinery. Luckily, GGI member Super Obama would draft a specific plan for progression on July 28 specifically, continuing their habits of planning only for the short term instead of the long term. They would get only exactly what they needed. Miners would be sent to mine kimberlite, iron, cobalt, fluorite, and blah blah blah, iron, nickel, manganese, ferrosilicon, ferrochromium, quicklime, fluorite, oxygen, and nitrogen would be used to create carburized stainless steel, which would be turned into real stainless steel in an advanced arc furnace. As for the insane power requirements for feeding these furnaces, the GGI would simply spam geothermal energy. Lava from drilling rigs in the nether would be dumped into massive boiler arrays for Brobdingnagian quantities of steam, which would be consequently dumped into large steam turbines to produce 16,000 energy units per second. With this newfound electricity, the GGI would gather around the arc furnace, as the first stainless steel on this planet would be produced by this team. Now that high voltage was unlocked, more overpowered guns and explosives could be crafted by the GGI, but this would come at a cost. There was barely any automation in the base, with machines being spread out everywhere and materials being put in random chests around the base. Super Obama was getting distracted by how abysmal the GGI headquarters were, so he would postpone his attack on Rhode Island until the GGI got their stuff together. The server was preparing for war. Some were excited to attack, while some were preparing for an attack, but what they didn't know was just how destructive wars could get, now that people were getting serious weapons. It was the 5th day of the server, and none of the teams so far had been annihilated. But today, the PGS would finally decide to attack the GGI tomorrow. While the GGI was busy fixing their base before raiding Rhode Island, the PGS and their allies were still at medium voltage. But Sailor had an idea. Super Obama was constantly flexing how far ahead the GGI were, and how easy medium voltage was, and the PGS still had to get revenge on the GGI for annoying them on day 1. So if they raided the GGI and took their high voltage technology for themselves, the PGS would jump ahead of the CIA. The PGS were slowly burning out as they acquired high voltage. At some point, Planet Me was almost crying in voice chat because of the sheer complexity of the things going on in his head, but it would all pay off soon. After getting delayed by some lava blowing up their stainless steel production, the PGS finally unlocked high voltage. The PGS would then manufacture sniper rifles, which would be given to Sailor. This would be a part of their plan to raid the GGI. Instead of an overly complicated plan like the OGS attack plan, Sailor would simply bring himself and a gun. However, when Sailor discussed this with Rhode Island, the leaders of the team, as well as Rhode Island member Le Clown, wanted to join the raid to possibly acquire a bit of loot for Rhode Island, which Sailor agreed to. All they needed now was information on the GGI, which they already had. As it turns out, GGI member Do Not Sus was actually sus. As he was a sleeper agent working with the PGS, he would give the coordinates to the base, and he would clear an entrance to the base to let Sailor in tomorrow. While Sailor murdered everyone inside GGI headquarters, the members of Rhode Island would wait for the GGI to respawn and spawn camp them so they couldn't do anything. Once all the machines were stolen, everyone would leave.
What are you doing?
And what does it look like it fucking is, person?
I got Biko in.
Yeah, why does Biko have no armor?
No idea. I do have armor, but it's just hidden.
Unpowered team. So this is a Rhodes attack, basically. Everyone here who's attacking is technically a Rhodes member.
Yep, you are a Rhodes member. We're trying to be sneaky until we actually get inside. From then on, we can just be as loud as we want.
Yeah.
Alright? Also, I like how you can see me, but I can't, like, get through. What are we doing? Yeah, it's not working.
Okay, fuck it.
Oh, we got it. We're under attack, bro. I told you guys.
What the fuck is that?
Who left the
we're under attack.
Dog, respectfully, who left the damn doors open?
We're under attack. We're under attack.
Wait, Ryan.
Yeah. What did you guys do, bro? What did you guys actually do?
Who the fuck? We are spawn camp. Guys, who did this? Which moron did this?
Oh, time to steal. Time to try and break as much machinery as I can, or whatever. Hi, it's me.
Oh, that was fun.
So now what do we do?
Sailor, what the fuck?
I killed all the GGI.
You weren't gear.
You have to progression reset them.
Yeah, we are. We are actively. The entire GGI is now dead. We have claimed their home block and they are now stuck. They are slaves of the PGS. I have...
Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Sailor moment.
Okay, we need the spy. We need the do not sus. You need to log on and dismantle the entire.
Yeah, he knows.
I am logging off.
Okay.
The clown made the new team and he claimed the area. Oh, what the fuck? Person at Ender Reaper. We're against him, right?
Yeah, but don't kill him.
Bitch, my car.
What the fuck is that?
Okay, that's enough for me.
Yeah, not some of the chunks got reclaimed. Who is unclaiming? No, who's reclaiming them? Because like
I don't know. Okay, you need to let go, Sailor. Let go. Yes, we got them.
That's right! Get no scope! Get no scope!
Everything had gone according to plan. The GGI were now stuck at their spawn and getting massacred. The raiders had packed all of the GGI loot in a box using little tiles storages, which would be transported manually to the PGS space to increase their national GDP. However, while this raid appeared to go well, things weren't exactly perfect behind the scenes. GGI member saw Do Not Sus breaking machines, and he was promptly exposed in public. He was the last PGS spy to get caught, so the PGS no longer had the advantage of having spies in the future. However, Zalgo was impressed by the performance of his spies, so he decided to convert the PGS spies into actual PGS members, increasing the player count from 30 to about 45. Every spy was given the PGS space coordinates, where they would be given tasks to help with progression. This caused tensions between the old members and new members. Many of the old members, including Kubal, Tiliabi 228, and Regin did not like the influx of new members. Kubal was just getting bored with the game and decided to quit altogether. Sailor was also getting annoyed, but for different reasons. Zalgo got too excited during the raid and leaked the GGI coordinates to get revenge, causing random people to come to the GGI base and take stuff for themselves. This included several RON members who stole technology that Sailor wanted. Sailor's loyalty was beginning to shift elsewhere, to Rhode Island, where he was being celebrated as a war hero. What the public didn't know, however, was that Dr. Biko and person unnamed were involved in their attack on the GGI. What would happen to their original promise of being neutral and attacking nobody? They would ignore this question, deciding to keep their involvement a secret. Dr. Biko would reassure the Rhode Island members that the destruction of the GGI was necessary, and that they should focus on other things like grinding. It shouldn't really matter anyways because the GGI were still stuck in their spawn trap. That was until a clown decided to use a flamethrower to spawn camp the GGI. Even though the spawn was made of wood, you can visualize what happened after that. Gravel from the ocean above fell onto the spawn, obscuring it and causing the GGI member spawn point to reset. The GGI escaped in a world record of 1 hour, and Le Clown wouldn't mention this embarrassing mistake to anyone, allowing the GGI to escape and disperse without anyone knowing. But there is one thing you need to know, that the public didn't know. Super Obama had played a 4-dimensional game of chess with the entire server. This whole time, the CIA was actually the GGI. Let me explain. At around day 2, Super Obama had the idea to create a fake team to distract the server from the GGI. This hypothetical fake team would pretend to be super advanced and hostile to draw as much attention as possible, so that other teams would be concerned about this fake problem instead of focusing on the real problem, which was the GGI. And Super Obama had a few GGI members, including McInU and MXL, pretend to be CIA members. They would be tasked with making vague threats to everyone else and acting unpleasant. The technology that the CIA had was actually just stuff produced by the GGI that MXL would take credit for. This entire plan somehow worked. People put far more scrutiny into the CIA than anything else, meaning less people would pay attention to the GGI without realizing what they were actually doing, including Super Obama's whole plan to backstab Rhode Island. The entire server had been psychologically manipulated about this, including Zalgo, who was beginning to go more and more insane from the events of this server. Despite their escape, GGI morale was quite low. Some rage quit the server, but Super Obama and some other GGI members unsurprisingly swore revenge ominously in public. They would be back eventually. For now, however, the rest of the server would get to enjoy a bit of peace. With the GGI out of their way, the PGS and their allies would simply continue progressing. The raid on the GGI made the PGS jump to high voltage, and whatever leftovers were collected by run scavengers would also boost them forward. The goal now was to reach extreme voltage, also known as Tier 5. The main metal required to advance this time was titanium, acquired by Besides new metallurgical requirements, electronics at the nanometer scale would be required for MOSFET technology, featured in extreme voltage tier circuits. This would require over 10 steps of chemical vapor deposition, ion implantation, electron beam lithography, and blah blah blah. Reaching extreme voltage would take several days, and it was a long-term goal we will be hearing about for a while. But Planet Me anticipated this. He was working on acquiring heptaquintillions of new types of chemicals, and he was busy constructing the oil engine, another abomination of about 50 machines that would extract every possible product from oil. But oil only had so many chemicals to extract. Biological sources had even more. A greenhouse would be constructed to automate wood products. But the progression team wasn't the only one suffering. You see, spending several days underground, surrounded by nothing but machinery and netherrack, can make someone insane. And Zalgo was getting more and more paranoid every day. After 3 straight days of digging and placing tracks, the Balls Alliance train network was finished by Regin. But Zalgo was beginning to question the existence of this tunnel. Having a massive train system directly leading to 3 bases was a security concern. If one person found one base, then they could easily find the other 2 bases, leading to a possible XK-class end of Balls Alliance scenario. So Zalgo ordered members to seal the first 500 blocks of the train tunnel while Regin was asleep, so that every time he came online, he would have to redig the first 500 blocks. But while the major powers of the world were busy doing their own thing, there were many other smaller teams with their own history and politics. They would sometimes get involved in the affairs of larger powers. This is the Nami faction. They weren't exactly the best team or worst team. Having a decent base on a rather remote continent, everything that was going on around them felt like a side story. The Balls Alliance, the GGI, World Wars, all of these seemed like distant realities. Until now, as time passed, more and more of the world's resources would be owned by the server's superpowers. The Nami faction accidentally stumbled upon the mining drills used by the Republic of Greg. Their reaction to this information was to secretly steal ores from the drill occasionally, because there was nothing defending these drills. And also they had no idea who the Republic of Greg was, so they would continue robbing the rug and hope that nobody would notice. Unsurprisingly, these valuable ores would be the source of more conflict, and person unnamed had an idea to take advantage of these infinite deposits. Various high-ranking Rhode Island members and PGS arbiters would come together to discuss plans to start a monopoly around infinite ore deposits, using their advanced technology. The plan was to have scouts find every single infinite ore deposit on the surface, and destroy as many of them as possible, leaving only the ones used by Rhode Island and their allies. As one of the more trusted individuals of Rhode Island, Olivier would witness what the leaders of his team were truly up to, and every other Rhode Island member was blissfully unaware of how their leaders were beginning to betray their principles. Now that they were rich and had major teams on their side, they would also officially speedrun finding loopholes around the original ideals of their nation. Person unnamed claimed that their plan was technically neutrality because everyone was being treated equally bad, and even then, Dr. Biko could simply talk to the PGS to do their dirty work for them, since the PGS didn't need to stay neutral. The rest of the world wasn't exactly too great either. With how far ahead the PGS and their allies were from the rest of the world, the fear of retribution from other teams was very small, so they decided to do whatever they want. Several random players would be put on the Balls Alliance kill on-site list, either just for funny reasons or other random reasons. This still included the Islamic People's Republic of Greg, which was basically a punching bag for the Republic of New Horizons whenever they wanted to let off some steam. Regin would also have La Demo Man killed for posting indecent imagery of the 13-year-old character Vriska from Homestuck. When these minor teams were harmed, nobody panicked, but when an important team is impacted, suddenly everyone loses their minds. This is Mikkel, a Republic of New Horizons explorer, while Kubal is John Wick from Poland. Mikkel is Kubal from America but more reckless, and when Mikkel accidentally stumbled upon the Republic of Greg, he didn't recognize who it was, so he decided to break and enter, before proceeding to turn the base into a barbecue pit. The result was a massive drama and diplomatic disaster, because a certain group of people was targeted instead of an irrelevant one. It took several hours of yapping and apologies for people to finally calm down, but this won't be the last we will see Mikkel troll, as we will see in the coming days. This had been another day of business as usual, more plotting, more killing, more grinding, and they would simply rinse and repeat on the next days. But just as the server was about to close, something quite suspicious was about to occur.
Oh, it's Sega.
This guy clearly owns a membrane keyboard.
Oh my god! Where are we going?
No, go to the machine room. 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 Blow up all their chests. Blow up all their chests. Yeah, blow up all the machines.
Blow everything up.
Spam right click. Spam right click. Spam right click.
Spam right click. Get on a machine. Stop watching the past. Stop going on the past. Make actual machine. Make actual machine. Pick it all up. Pick it all up. Kill him.
My hand is shaking. I have like no aim.
What are you doing? Aim better! Oh my god. Take everything. Take all the machines up. Pick them all up.
I don't think the bulb trims anymore. I didn't even do that much, to be honest.
Don't have bulb trims. Oh my god.
Why do you attack us so much?
It's funny.
I don't think I care about anything else other than seeing the downfall of your team. And specifically, the downfall of you.
Aw, thanks.
Apparently, some fuck called Dr. Biko appeared in the server with my skin. Please beware of them in the base. I usually don't go outside.
While everyone else believed the GGI were gone, one team was interested in reviving the GGI. This team was colloquially known as the Technological Republic of Lubin Liberty, abbreviated as the Troll Team, a medium-voltage tier team led by 8. They hadn't been involved in anything major so far, but they were secretly watching the events of the server with great interest. When 8 heard about the GGI's downfall, he would reach out to Super Obama, offering to give the GGI access to their base, in return for combining forces to acquire technological progress at a much faster pace. Super Obama agreed, but as it turns out, there would be another team coming as well, the Omega Society of Grapes. The OGS hadn't done anything interesting the past few days. They had a rather uneventful existence during their time in their Hyperborean meth lab. This would be interrupted when Sean was suddenly contacted by Obama. Obama was talking to team leaders behind the scenes, and was interested in joining forces with people who were against the PGS. This proposition was discussed for a few hours in a voice call between the leaders, and in the end, Sean agreed to join the GGI, bringing whatever technology the OGS had. So Sean and his team would pack up their medium voltage technology and begin the trek of 20 kilometers to the Troll base, where GGI refugees were still arriving after swimming for hours. The situation was quite chaotic, as several GGI members were quite excited about going from being over to being so back in the matter of hours, and almost immediately after stepping foot in Troll team, Wandering Hero demanded grenades, because the GGI had even more reason to target Rhode Island now, because of their involvement in the GGI raid. And this was Wandering Hero's genius mastermind plan to destroy Rhode Island.
Locate the Rhode Island spawn point and spawn kill every Rhode Island member approximately 4 or 5 times. Break the spawn point, kill everyone again. Seal the entire base, blow up the entire base, harass everyone in chat. 2 GGI members will pretend to steal Rhode Island and allow the PGS to find them. Lose intentionally in a believable way. Another GGI member will be hiding during this entire gunfight and will follow the PGS as they leave Rhode Island. This GGI member will follow the PGS back to their base, destroy the PGS, GGWP, get annexed El Bozo.
This killing spree fantasy explains how the average GGI member felt at the time, and it wasn't even the only killing fantasy. GGI members like Gregorius Bread stated they simply wanted to see Sailor suffer, all because a PGS member said El Bozo. 100% of intrusive thoughts had been activated, and Wandering Hero was going to commence the plan now. He grabbed a few grenades and promptly began walking to Rhode Island. Wandering Hero then changed his in-game name to Dr. Bako and copied the real Biko's skin to make it seem like he was the real Dr. Biko. Wandering Hero then walked through Rhode Island's front door and grenaded everything while people didn't notice he was fake. In the end, Super Obama would show up to announce his return, showing that the CIA were behind this attack. By this point, the Troll Team conglomeration went by many names, but Super Obama would consider this to be the sequel to the CIA. He would call it the FBI. They were outnumbered by the Balls Alliance, but Obama believed they had a chance. Their main mission now would be trolling the PGS, trolling the Balls Alliance, trolling Rhode Island, trolling everyone, and by that, I mean destruction. For the main purpose of having fun, and the secondary purpose of getting revenge or something. So the FBI would get to work grinding massive amounts of weapons, and grinding new technology to unlock new weapons for the future. The existence of the FBI was concerning. But Rhode Island decided to stand their ground. They were going to defend the land they had occupied for most of the server's existence. This would go along with propaganda, with person unnamed calling the FBI a tyrannical anarcho-capitalist group out to get them. Due to this, all efforts would be redirected to survival. After being betrayed by several people over the course of their existence, Rhode Island would stop their open border policy. According to person unnamed, very few people would be accepted from now on. Rhode Island would also begin building fortifications around their base. Besides the wall between the base and the surrounding massive cave system, there would be 2 more cobblestone walls. Certain materials would also be reserved for defenses. Rhode Island used to allow their members to build whatever they want. But starting now, stainless steel and sulfuric acid would be reserved for making weapons. This was half 1984, which is 992. Rhode Island would also react to the Rhode Island terrorist attack by commencing the Minecraft manhunt for the FBI. Members would basically be drafted to do work necessary to protect them, including infamous Rhode Island member LeClown Dude 23960, who would search 12 hours a day. They already had a few ideas on where to search, based on possible hints from old messages by Obama. MTBO and Sailor would also be involved in the search effort, and by involved, I mean they would simply talk with LeClown while staying in the safety of their nether bunker. The FBI predicted that the Balls Alliance would try to find them, so they attempted to waste as much of their time as humanly ontologically possible. This would be accomplished by leading any potential explorers to false leads, so the old OGS base would be leaked to the public. Not only would the Clown and PGS member WhatsApp to spend several hours traveling there to find clues, but WhatsApp would scout the surrounding area, wasting nearly their entire day after they found nothing. The FBI had no idea that the Balls Alliance were actually falling for it, but they would continue saying random coordinates and pretend to freak out over getting exposed, trapping Balls Alliance explorers in a Sisyphean cycle of following red herrings for the next few days. By the end, the Clown traveled 90 kilometers by foot and 250 kilometers by boat, but FBI member McAnew had a funnier idea. He was going to fake the moon landing to stir up drama. He obtained a normal jetpack, flew several kilometers into the air, and utilized Photoshop skills to manufacture a false screenshot of him landing on the moon. Even though rockets were not craftable in the game, Zalgo called the original team of Greg Tech developers to analyze the screenshots and see exactly what happened, causing a debate that somehow wasted more time. But all of these psyops were simply buying more time for the FBI, for them to acquire equipment to execute their new plan. We have seen the FBI prank Rhode Island with grenades, but now they wanted Rhode Island permanently gone. By resetting their progress to 0, the FBI had used this day to grind enough Uzis and grenades to turn Rhode Island into Road Crater, and the plan was to arrive at the surface of Rhode Island, drill underground next to their actual underground base, and use grenades to blow up their entire headquarters. It was an epic plan, and the reaction was going to be equally epic. The GGI had gone from 0 to being the biggest threats once again, and nothing could stop them this time, except for FBI member Corey Dora, who felt bad for Rhode Island. He was the only FBI member who actually felt emotions or something. So he leaked the FBI's plans to Dr. Biko so they could prepare. Rhode Island realized they couldn't survive an attack from the FBI, so they decided to make a run for it when the server opened, meaning the next morning would be a race to see if the FBI could reach Rhode Island before Rhode Island could take all their machines and escape.
Probably their base.
I mean, SMG mags. Does anyone have SMG mags?
I have
Yes, I have.
8 SMG mags.
Can use.
Can you wait for more 5 more minutes? I have to go eat lunch.
No!
Okay.
Yeah, everyone follow me, everyone follow me, everyone follow me.
Alright, yeah, so basically just go south if you're trying to get to them.
I mean, I'll rather have everyone with us at the moment, so we're waiting on Fallen King. Okay, everyone, follow me!
Let's go.
Super almost got it.
Yeah. Bro, this is literally a cinematic shot.
We basically go due south. We basically go due south from here.
Yeah. This is gonna be something to rival Infamous Creeper Pop.
This is an extremely important ping. We are getting raided as soon as the server starts. The enemies have MV weaponry and steam armor. Our current plan of defense is as follows. We know they will bomb the west wall near the farm to attack our machinery. Everyone with ranged weaponry should go to the west wall. If you cannot fight, break all machinery and leave to anywhere not occupied.
Yeah, I think it's that
Oh, we should go into the beneath
We
first.
literally don't have time.
Yeah.
We have to get there.
Yeah. Wondering, where should we dig under?
North of the base.
North of the base. Gotcha. We don't sneak when we get to the overworld because I don't think there's a.
Yeah, they're not gonna be.
After we blow in, just go straight for the spawn blocks. Kill anyone in your way, but you should worry about getting the spawn block destroyed as soon as possible.
We might need backup if there's more people defending it.
The only people that should be speaking during the raid is me, 8, and Sean.
Alright.
You should be leading.
Or if anyone else has something important.
Yeah, Sean should be leading his team. I should be leading mine.
This is it, isn't it?
Oh my god, wait, is there a person right there?
This is
Everyone back up.
Let's back up. Let's get into the
No,
beneath
they
now, I
see
think.
us. They see us. Boys, I say we whip out our guns and go full.
You guys want to go full? You guys want to go full? Like.
I think we just go to the beneath.
Let's go to the Let's go right now. It's right here.
Maybe a little bit. That's not lame.
Yeah, well, they already know, so be careful. Let's see. There's not many people.
There's not many people.
There's not many important
Guys,
people.
come
There's like 7 or 8.
right here. We have the.
Yeah, I got killed.
There's someone at the surface.
Everyone, no one, and don't have everyone jump in at once. Let them drill before you guys jump in.
Hey, everybody watch the entrance.
Okay, and everyone back the fuck away from the drilling guy. If he falls to his death, we all fall.
There will be a giant drop in the beneath. Do not fall down. Fall damage.
Okay, everyone, take your time. Take your fucking time.
Boats don't fall damage, by the way, so just use a boat.
Hey, whoever has torches, go down.
Yeah, a torch person needs to come down.
I got torches.
Alright, can we get some torches here?
Torches.
Thank you.
Are we going down again?
There's the base, right in front of us. There's the base. Wait, guys, look down to the left. Look down to the left. There's torches right there.
Are I at the top or like where we are right now?
They're a bit lower down.
They're lower down. Alright, we should make our way down. We should make our way down then.
Use a boat.
Everyone go.
Don't fall to your death.
Torches.
We can't drop down anymore. We have to go like up.
Alright.
Crouch.
Stop giving it to me.
I see them all.
Put them in your ammo. You can put them in your ammo slots.
Wait for everyone to get up. How do we have like less than 10 people when we started off with like 15?
This is the end.
Hey, they're all getting up right now.
Yeah,
Crouch.
Yeah, this cobblestone is one, and this is one entrance.
That's open right now.
It's open right now. Wait, no. If I'm being honest, that's probably a trap. I'm gonna blow in through the wall.
Everyone back up. We're breaching.
Everyone back up.
0 member.
Is it open? Yeah. Everyone breach. Everyone breach. Breach away from the big entrance.
Alright, get your guns out.
Yeah, it's open.
Taking damage.
Stop shooting people. There's a guy right there.
This room is empty. Go in.
Go. They have walls. They have a second layer of walls. They have a second layer of walls. Breach. Everyone back away from the grenades.
Back away from the grenades.
They have another layer of walls.
Did they just make a bunch of walls and
They really expect.
It's open. We're home. Everyone pick up stuff. Everyone just pick up gear.
Yeah, everybody just pick up as much gear as you can.
There's probably loads of my stuff everywhere because I got killed instantly.
How did this guy have gapples? What? This guy had a gapple.
Guys, where are you?
There's someone outside. There's someone outside. I was trying to prove he did not want to die.
Alright. They do.
Dude, how do they move in a singular hour?
Stop them! Help me, please!
Where are? Oh shit! He's up the elevator. He's up the elevator. He's up the elevator. Take it.
Grenade. Back away. Back away. I'm throwing a grenade.
Did he add it, right?
Go.
Spawn is dead. The spawn is dead.
I'm gonna go.
Spawn is dead.
Oh, what?
I'm tossing more grenades. Be warned. I'm tossing more grenades.
You can use wait.
A singular walrus. Wait, everyone.
Hey, everybody.
Everyone, take a screenshot with the walrus. We're getting a screeny of this shit. Screenshot number 1. Screenshot number 2. All right, we're good. Oh, hey, look
We've
at
been
guys,
talking
look at
about it this whole time.
Do we leave this or not?
We leave it. We leave it.
We leave it.
No,
leave it.
Take it as a trophy.
No. Leave it.
Why are we?
Take a
why would
photo.
we leave it?
Just
Why would
leave
we
it. Just
Take a
leave
photo.
it. The flower didn't do anything.
Rhode Island had miraculously escaped with their machinery, since Illuminati HD was carrying everything on him and was already outside when the FBI attacked. The reaction to this raid was spectacular. The PGS was equally horrified and pitiful. Zalgo offered Rhode Island a new base location near the PGS, so they could remain close in times of need. This would be where the new Rhode Island headquarters were constructed. So while Rhode Island would spend the whole day setting up their new base in the beneath, the PGS would decide what to do next. The PGS had seen just how large and angry the FBI had gotten. Sending them to the Stone Age wasn't enough to counter how hellbent they were on destroying the world. The relief they felt by annihilating the GGI on day 6 was completely gone now that they returned to doing business as usual just a few days later. The FBI were now planning to reach extreme voltage, where they would unlock the highest tier weapons. If this happened, they would be unstoppable. The PGS stress was at its maximum, and Zalgo predicted the PGS would be the next target. Up until this point, the PGS were playing very defensively. They simply had too much to lose, taking shelter in their isolated nether compound while sending their pawns to do the dirty work. But Zalgo would take new measures. To ensure the survival of the PGS, the arbiters of the PGS would do a review of their current members, and Planet Me would be promoted to arbiter on the basis of high competency, complete loyalty to the PGS, and sheer usefulness during the event. What followed was a mass restructuring by Planet Me. To increase the PGS's effectiveness, Planet Me split up the science team of the PGS into the Microcrafter team, which would continuously assemble circuits and machine components to supply the factory expansion. This team was basically the unskilled labor of the team. There would also be the machinist team, which would fulfill work orders consisting of multiblocks, machines, pipes, wires, and so on. These requests came from the designer team, which would be the skilled labor of the science task force, reserved for the experienced Gregors. They would design and build automation setups required for progression and other chemical products. This further division of labor would make sure that everyone was doing things at their level of skill, while the more competent people dealt with the more important decisions. Planet Me would also create the Great PGS internal spreadsheet, which would list every item to be crafted by the lower tiers of the science team. This included the PGS members were their workers as if they were the personification of Amazon online shopping, and it somehow worked. The PGS's will to survive drove them to grind 12 hours every day. Planet Me's reforms had massively accelerated the progress of the PGS, but all of that calcining and carbochlorinating was beginning to drive everyone insane. Planet Me nearly quit the game after an incident in the machinery room. Instead of making 4HV assemblers, Planet Me accidentally made 4HV cuisine assemblers, which were useless machines that only made food. This resulted in a GDP loss of approximately. But with the PGS now prepared to obtain whatever they needed for survival, Zalgo ordered everyone to defend the base using passive and automatic means as much as possible. The PGS crafted and placed approximately 100 AS-50 high-caliber sniper rifle turrets loaded with explosive glyceryltrinitrate bullets that would be programmed to automatically shoot on sight anyone who wasn't on the PGS whitelist. Each PGS member was equipped with gas masks, and Planet Me constructed a redstone system that would fill the entire base with deadly organosulfur chemical compound bis-2-chloroethyl sulfide, also known as mustard gas, which would be unleashed at the push of a single button, killing everyone who did not have a mask. However, this did not work as intended because the gas chamber activation buttons were not appropriately labeled.
I can't fucking react, otherwise I'm gonna cough so much. Oh my god.
The next order would be a bit more extreme. Zalgo ordered everyone to seal all tunnels and entrances leading up to the base, effectively turning the PGS into an isolationist team. This also meant that the train tunnel Regin painstakingly made was also sealed shut. This was the final straw for Regin, and he decided to leave the PGS for good. Regin was tired of having to deal with Zalgo meltdowns every single day. The older PGS members had left the team after seeing their usefulness run out, replaced by the new generation of PGS members who were ready to do what was needed in this age. So Regin would retire, deciding to pursue other interests now that the PGS were handled. Regin had his eyes on a team called the Church of Morbius, a neutral team which had pretty much no technology outside of some basic low-voltage machines, which were outdated by day 2. The team was led by a rogue crafter. He had announced the opening of the church, as well as its coordinates in public. Anyone could join, so Regin would steal some machinery and building blocks from the PGS before leaving, and began hanging out with the Church of Morbius members. One of the PGS's major leaders had just disappeared to an obscure country. Meanwhile, something absolutely world-changing was about to happen. The FBI had spent the entire day in their base working towards reaching extreme voltage, and after a long day of work, they decided to have some fun. The FBI would challenge Rhode Island to a rap battle, with Wandering Hero, aka Dr. Bako, representing the FBI, who would go against the real Biko from Rhode Island. This is what happened.
Your grandma does Fortnite dances in the Walmart bathroom. Your mother was a hamster.
Your mother doesn't want you.
Obama beat you during the Iraq War.
Is that dog barks? Is there a mad dog barking?
What are those mentally disabled insults, by the way?
Hold on. I ran out of ideas. Gotta ask ChatGPT. Yo, it's time to step up and face the heat, Dr. Vico. You're about to meet defeat. You claim to be a genius in your field, but your rhymes are weak. You're about to yield. You talk a big game, but it's all just talk. I'll leave you in shock when I start to walk. Your theories may be complex and obscure, but when it comes to rap, you're just not secure. I'll dismantle your ego, leave it in shambles. My flow's so smooth, it's like riding on camels. You may have a PhD, but that won't save you. When I'm on the mic, you'll stumble and waver. You analyze data, I analyze sound.
Whether the FBI or Rhode Island won this rap battle is still one of the most debated questions in the scientific community. It was a day since the great PGS reform, and they were ahead of the FBI in terms of technological progression. After countless hours of grinding, they had processed titanium ore from their mining drills, all the way down into titanium ingots. The PGS would be the first team to possess this aforementioned titanium, unlocking extreme voltage. The PGS would also manufacture polytrifluoroethylene aka PTFE, a highly advanced tier of plastic which is made by a 25-step process which uses blah blah blah. I'm not even going to say the sped up recipe. It's getting boring by now. But why does PTFE even matter? PTFE is required to make elytras, Those who possessed elytras could fly anywhere they wanted, unseen if necessary, in the overworld, beneath, or nether. Geographical inconveniences were now gone thanks to technology. Places that would have originally taken hours to travel to would only take minutes to reach now. Greenhouses meant people could simply farm anything wherever they wanted to, and drills allowed resources to be obtained in any location. Most of the natural problems had been solved, leaving just the human ones. It had been a few days since the creation of the FBI, and they still were not found yet. Le Clown was still the only searcher because the PGS were so busy focusing on their own survival that they didn't send any of their own explorers. But they also basically ignored everything else that was going on in the world, including their own allies. The leaders of RON had just received a complaint from Rhode Island. RON members Mikkel and Zombiezilla had been caught wandering above Rhode Island, after Mikkel discovered the coordinates of Rhode Island's base. There wasn't an elaborate psychological operation reason or edgy revenge reason. They were simply bored. However, rather than talking things out, Starlost suddenly had a public outburst because Zalgo wasn't the only one going insane. The events of the server were making Starlost incredibly stressed, and he decided to rage quit his position of leadership after this minor inconvenience tipped him off. But who would be Starlost's replacement? The new leader would be Neo, who was one of the most active and productive RON gamers. But while Starlost was more like Joe Biden, Neo would be more like Vladimir Putin. Neo was more authoritarian, and he was going to continue where Starlost left off on his world domination plans. But before they could take control of the world, Neo would have to take control of their own team. There was a lot to be done, including some team restructuring, some people to deal with, and a lot of new technology to obtain. To keep up to pace with both their allies and their enemies, Neo wanted to keep only the best grinders on the team, while deporting anyone who was seen as only consuming resources. This included Cowuntry. During his performance review, Cowuntry claimed that he simply subconsciously Gregs. Based on this information, Cowuntry was promptly deported from RON. Neo would also do a review of the team's resources, and Neo discovered that Alexander and Mikkel were mass-producing high-tier weapons and hogging them all for themselves, in a chest in a public room that they had tried reserving. Light machine guns, Scar rifles, power armor, jetpacks. When Neo saw this, he decided that their weapons now belonged to the state or something, because they needed them to fight their enemies or something. Neo now had massive quantities of weapons at his disposal, but ICBMs hadn't even been used on the server yet. But just how powerful was a single one? The RON had everything needed to make ICBMs. They only needed some metal, explosives, and propellants. Now Neo simply needed a test subject, and he chose the Church of Morbius because he believed that Morbius was a dead meme anyways, and he was a competitor to Neo's newly created Church of the Large Bronze Boiler, so he would construct a missile launcher on top of his church, which he used to launch a few normal nukes at the old Church of Morbius. And the world's reaction to this information was basically nothing. Suddenly, Neo realized something. When Starlost gave Neo leadership of the team, he really meant it. There wasn't anyone else on the team to stop him. The People's Grejek Society were too focused on their self-preservation to notice that not only were the RON were launching nukes at random people, they were doing it just for fun. Neo would face zero consequences for his actions, which would lead to what happened next. Deep underground, a worker by the name of Zorov was ordered to manufacture a system to mass-produce nukes on demand. They didn't just manufacture nukes, they automated them, which meant that the Republic of New Horizons now had infinite nukes. And Neo had big plans. He would create a list of random teams to be annihilated for reasons still unknown to this day. This included the Asbestos team, and the Islamic People's Republic of Greg. Both would be turned into smoldering craters. When the dust had settled, the only surviving item from the Iprog was an aluminum wrench with 11 durability, a minor inconvenience. The destruction caused by the RON's power trip knew no bounds. Historical landmarks had been bombed, and Neo was now out of targets, until new enemies or new excuses could be found. And then, a new excuse was found. You may have remembered the Nama faction leeching resources off of the Republic of Greg. This time, The ROG finally became suspicious. ROG member Ocean King was equipped with a minigun and deployed to the drills to do surveillance after, and the Ocean King would catch the Nama faction red-handed, before proceeding to get shot to death by Misaki. Burning attempted to explain that his teammates accidentally destroyed their entire drill by coincidentally aiming several explosive arrows at it. This would lead to yet another war, but we haven't seen the Republic of Greg do much so far. But secrecy was part of their plan. They wanted everyone else to underestimate them and see them as a weak team of scared players. But in reality, the Republic of Greg also created their own ICBMs, which were a part of a top-secret classified operation called Operation KC, which stood for Operation Curry Codes. This had been ongoing since the beginning of the server, and the idea was to create a well-hidden missile silo buried under a swamp, which would be filled with various missile launchers. Using the power of programming and computers, Curry Codes made the missile loading and launching automatic, with a theoretical rate of 1 nuke launched per second. But since nobody knew about this, the Nama faction wasn't exactly too concerned that they had pissed off the ROG.
Fortunately, the Republic of Greg seems mostly cool about it if we give their stuff back. And if they aren't, they can go fuck themselves.
We are to be engaging in Operation No More Factory. We are to infiltrate the headquarters of Nomi faction and destroy them. Once everyone is in place, we will become their bombardment. At least 8 missiles will be used by Ron. After their base has been breached by the missiles, the strike squad is to go in and destroy any enemy combatants and their spawn points.
Despite several team kills and somehow losing a 1v5 to Nomi faction, the Ron and the ROG had successfully wiped out the Nomi faction. So they would promptly leave the raid. Little did they know about just how much equipment they had accidentally given the Nomi faction just from dying. A fact which will definitely not be relevant later on. Meanwhile, Regin was enjoying his retirement. This was the first time he had fun on the server, without orders or leaders or boring Greg tech tasks. But suddenly, the leader of the Church of Morbius, Rogue Crafter, had a schizophrenic episode. He decided to grief the entire base because of lore reasons. Rogue Crafter then proceeded to justify his actions using the power of schizophrenia. Regin's friend, aka GDCM5, aka Monstro the Extinctor, would promptly destroy his desk and rage quit the server after seeing approximately 6 hours of progress lost, until he had an idea to build a new, massive church far away in a hidden location. To spite Rogue Crafter, they would rebrand as the Knights of Morbius. So while war was going on everywhere, Regen and GDCM would secretly build the greatest church the server had ever seen. The FBI were slowly catching up with the PGS-8's base was being filled by the various machinations built by the rest of the FBI, but especially McAnew. He was, for a lack of a better word, gaming. McAnew created a sprawling but deranged oil processing factory for the FBI, which would be powering a cube of floating Tier 6 gas turbines that had been created by him as well. This oil refining sector would process raw oil taken from an offshore drilling rig, also made by McAnew. However, rather than building a massive pipeline leading from this drilling rig to the FBI headquarters, McAnew would become the pipeline. He would repeatedly fly to the oil rig, fill several drums with millions of liters of oil, and return to base to manually refill the oil processor. The FBI had already reached the peak of technology. All they needed now was to actually use it on the Balls Alliance. The plan was to find the PGS by day 13, the penultimate day of the event. On the day after, the FBI would attempt to hit every other team, the Republic of New Horizons, Rhode Island, but not the Republic of Greg. However, since according to 8, the ROG were simply a puppet of the PGS, and killing the puppet master would cause the puppet to fall motionless, so the ROG would be underestimated and ignored. As for other weapons, the FBI would produce some of the most overpowered firearms known to mankind, if they could even be called firearms. Rocket launchers and miniguns would be made in the FBI's weapon factory. There was barely anything that could stop an explosive rocket flying full speed at something, or a barrage of 50 minigun bullets per second. Several FBI scouts were equipped with elytras and told to fly around the world to find bases. This included FBI member Dibscat, who would stumble upon the Ron base. When Neo discovered that the FBI had discovered them, he would commence Operation Last Horizons. The base of the Republic of New Horizons was relatively close to the surface, making them especially vulnerable to nukes. But Neo decided that moving was a cowardly move. He would simply spend the entire GDP of the team on building massive fortifications. The entrances would be encapsulated in indestructible vault blocks. A massive concrete nuke-proof roof would be enacted over the base, and traps would be built all over the surface, creating one of the base designs of all time. The PGS and the Run had basically gone their separate ways. They were all focused on their own survival, and with Regen subway tunnel sealed shut, the Balls Alliance was effectively over, with every team for themselves. Rhode Island couldn't seem to go a single day without getting inconvenienced, because out of nowhere, Rainbow would stage a rebellion, killing several Rhode Island members and leaking their new base coordinates simply because he found Dr. Biko annoying. Whatever advantage they gained by moving was gone now, and the rest of Rhode Island was unsurprisingly fed up with all of this BS. Suddenly, Dr. Biko decided to temporarily retire from leadership to take a break from all of this, and Olivier would be surprisingly promoted to leader during the most inconvenient time of his nation. But as Olivier promised to himself after the raid by the FBI, he would do anything necessary to ensure their survival, and if it involved throwing the original leaders under the bus, then so be it. However, it was too late, because when Olivier was patrolling the surface again, he would find FBI member Sean Spenkstar. Sean was originally planning on breaking Rainbow out of his prison in an attempt to recruit him into the FBI, but instead of killing Sean on the spot or panicking, Olivier decided to invite the FBI to a civilized discussion. They would talk out their problems with each other. This made Obama realize that there were much more dangerous teams that the FBI should target first. Obama would agree that if Rhode Island didn't mess with him, Obama wouldn't mess with Rhode Island. Rhode Island would even help Sean and his friends escape their own base, and send them on their way back to the FBI headquarters. Rhode Island had just managed to obtain peace with the FBI under Olivier's leadership, a feat that would bring massive respect to Olivier. Rhode Island had started off with tens of people, but as the team went through struggles, wars, and betrayals, the team was now narrowed down to its most loyal members: Olivier, Geordie Man, Fearless Panic, Earlock, and a few others who had stuck with them all this time. But under Olivier's leadership, he would ensure the survival of Rhode Island.
It took long enough, but I'm finally the leader. Biko might want to get this position back, but now that I have one foot indoors, I am not letting myself get removed from my newfound position of power that easily.
There were only 2 more days until the end of the event, and things were getting tense. The RON was building reinforcements, the PGS were preparing for the worst, the FBI were hunting down the PGS, and Rhode Island was attempting to survive the incoming fallout. These last 2 days had flown by for Olivier, and Dr. Biko was back to being the leader already. Unsurprisingly, Biko was back to telling the team to grind certain things. This would seem like business as usual, but near the end of the day, Olivier and his close friends would be talking normally, talking about normal stuff and joking around. That was until Olivier suddenly went into political rant mode in the group chat. He revealed Rhode Island's involvement in the GGI raid on Day 6. He went on and on about all the secrets kept by the Rhode Island leaders. As a high-ranking member of Rhode Island, Olivier saw all the things the leadership did, and was finally letting it all out now that enough time had passed. Similar to Olivier, most members of Rhode Island joined the team due to promises that they wouldn't antagonize anyone on purpose. So Rhode Island's reaction to Olivier's information was public outrage, which he used to his advantage to rally the members of Rhode Island around him, in his plan to take control of Rhode Island.
So essentially nothing would change.
Too much,
and you said you're going to be doing basically nothing. Like right now, your primary job as a member of this team was doing diplomacy. That was your job. And you failed at that. And now you're telling me that you're going to do even less? So you want to be a king with no responsibilities. How do you plan on making this work? Do you think that the team is willing to put down their lives and follow you into the abyss like they do with me?
Are they?
Personally, I am. I mean, the point is, okay, you even said that you said that you felt guilty because you didn't contribute a lot. Even expended our resources for personal reasons, like making the monitors. Like, we are missing a lot of LB circuits because of that. And you weren't present in the team, so of course we don't plan on having we don't will to follow you, but we have the will to follow Oliver, who actually was the actual leader during the gameplay, leading through the engineering part and actually being present.
Guess you guys are right, aren't you?
So, Here I ask, are you going to step down willingly, or are you going to... not?
I'll do you one better. I won't just step down. I'll completely leave the team.
The Rhode Island leaders agreed to a peaceful transition of power to Olivier, and as part of the agreement, the old leaders would be exiled. When this was announced, 85% of the original team voted to stay with Olivier, mostly because Olivier told everyone to vote for him. Serenabis was the only person who chose to leave with the old leaders. Anyone staying with Olivier would also get to keep their current base, while anyone following Dr. Biko would have to find a new home. They agreed on doing a 50-50 split of the base's machines, but in reality, Olivier sent them off after giving them a few garbage low-voltage machines while keeping the vast majority of Rhode Island's infrastructure, except it wouldn't be called Rhode Island anymore. Olivier rebranded the team to Humanity First, while Biko, unnamed, and Serenabis would be known as Penguin Logistics. And Olivier had big plans. Whether or not Olivier's means were questionable, and whether he actually had integrity, it didn't matter. He simply wanted his teams to survive. Under Olivier's leadership, Humanity First would stop interacting with the outside world, including their allies, since he planned to sit back and watch the world burn from a safe distance. The PGS didn't know it yet, but they had just lost another ally. Nobody had found the FBI base yet. The PGS had run out of time, because around this time, the FBI finally found the PGS. During yet another search session in the Nether, Mikanu stumbled upon an abandoned tunnel. This turned out to be the abandoned subway tunnel, which, if you recall, had been sealed on both sides by the PGS and Ron. However, this didn't mean that the middle sections of the tunnel were sealed. After walking down this tunnel, Mikanu would arrive at the edge of the PGS base claims, with several hundred meters of netherrack between him. Super Obama would then arrive and attempt to peek into the PGS base with Mikanu by digging around the claims and using F5 to collect information on the insides of the base. This whole time, the workers of the FBI had prepared for the actual invasion of the PGS, but now that the FBI had extreme voltage technology, warfare would go far beyond simply conventional fighting. There were approximately 3 programmers in the FBI, going by the names of Chembot, the Airblow, and of course, Mikanu. They were experimenting with a new technology they had unlocked thanks to extreme voltage drones. Vast experimentation would be done on these drones, which would turn out to be more versatile than expected, and drones could also equip explosives. This meant they could be used as suicide bombers. With enough coding, these drones could be programmed to travel to a location to set off explosives, while the FBI watched from a safe distance. Drone warfare was about to be born. This would be a part of the FBI's raid of the PGS, which involved setting a spawn point above the PGS with a storage containing 6 quintillion weapons. The FBI would dig a tunnel from their spawn to the edge of the PGS base, and use the drones to blow a way forward, before they would rush in and kill and explode everything with miniguns, snipers, rocket launchers, and grenades. Anything capable of doing damage and anyone capable of doing damage was to be sent to the PGS. They would destroy everything that the PGS had owned, much like what they had done to the GGI all those days ago. But of course, every operation needed some sort of slightly edgy but foreboding name that was thematic enough to match the nature of said operation. And after much thought, 8 would come up with a name that Obama liked instantly. It would be called Operation Heat Death. This would be the biggest operation the server had ever seen, surpassing the downfall of the GGI, the raid on Rhode Island, and anything else that had happened on this server. And now, it was time for execution.
Since space exploration will be fucking realistic, make sure they understand that having the PGS as enemies is a very sure way to never get to space. If they attack, they will straight up not be able to progress in the sequel event. You don't seem to understand how complicated I can make it.
I have stuff that I deemed was important in the journey map. So basically what happened was I went to the journey map, saw importance points, guessed the coordinates, and I wrote them down. So we're going to get 6 drones. Have them all dig to those points. And then they're all gonna go up at the exact same time. So we hit 6 important points all at once.
Yeah, actually, after the bots blow up, where are we gonna enter from? Because you said that they found that tunnel. The PGA
Yeah,
used the
we're gonna
tunnel
enter from that tunnel. That's what the bots are digging for. They're going to dig us our new tunnel.
Oh yeah, that's what the 8th one is gonna do.
Yeah. When we enter the base, you're gonna have to be very careful because they have weapons that can like kill us instantly. So if you hear a turret shoot you, immediately turn and run to the side. The bullets move really slow.
Wait, do we have a plan of attack for PGS? Well,
yes.
That, like,
we
not
just
said
said
it.
The PGS plan was just said.
All right, everyone else, be quiet. 4 sarin grenades. Get 2 incendiary Mach 10s. Get a gas mask. Get a full set of steam armor. 2 elytras. 2 stacks of rockets, and anywhere from 1 to 4 stacks of grenades.
All right. Yeah. No one should be touching the bots except for Chembot right now. Everyone else should be flying towards the PGS place.
Guys, I'm gonna give a pep talk, alright?
Go ahead, go wild, dude.
Even if we fail, alright? Even if we fail, even if we die horribly, alright? We don't fail. Yeah, no, you're right. We don't fail, because we're better. They're just mad, alright? We don't like half the PGS members. They've all done horrible things to us. Even if they haven't, just pretend they have, alright? So, the plan here is to roll in there. Alright, we don't group up because grenades are lethal, alright? Grenades
turn them all on?
Yep, turn them all on.
Yeah.
Alright, we go in there and we absolutely roll these children, bro. Because they all act like schizo children, alright?
8, start a timer now.
Alright, timer's going. When do you want me to tell you what the timer reaches? 30, 60, 90, or what?
30, and I'm gonna give you the time in a second. Okay, start now. 8, here's the number. Not 8, Obama. Here's the number.
Gotcha. So just put those into all of them and press enter.
Yeah.
At 40 seconds now?
How far are you guys
We're
down
at 50 seconds. You'll know when you get here.
Oh my god, they're all going. Holy shit.
At 60 seconds now?
Oh my god, they're all going.
We're at 1 minute 10 seconds now.
Alright, last one. Alright, they're
and
all
then
going.
Yeah,
And
and
the
come back up.
Within the next 90 seconds, it should go. Wait,
We're
is Miner
at
not
80
starting
seconds
here?
now.
Well, I need to take Miner. I need to get Miner out.
Oh yeah, get Miner.
We're at 90 seconds now.
Okay, in the next 40, they should explode.
Oh my, are you sure they're gonna make it? You're gonna want make Miner drill directly that way.
Miner drill. Okay, I'm
100
gonna start.
seconds.
Yeah.
When we hear an explosion, I'm gonna start it.
We're at 110.
I'm gonna wait for an explosion to start it. Or should I?
You might hear one. That's the issue.
All right, here we go. Please work, Miner. Oh, he's not.
120.
At most, it should take 200. Then it'll start.
I'm stressed, man.
150.
This is so exciting. Wow.
I'm
gonna make some popcorn.
I made it back in the next
popcorn. Stay the fuck.
There's the fucking explosion.
That was definitely an explosion, dude. Holy shit.
Are we going?
Yes.
Oh, fuck, go. We need to.
Be quiet. Chembot, do not go in yet.
Let me go in first.
Fuck, we can't place the robot.
You ready? Alright,
we need to grenade our way in.
No.
Fellas, we're grenading our way in. The robot dug through the exothermic lava. We're gonna grenade in.
Right, everyone get the fuck out. Everyone out.
We're nading.
Everyone back.
Yeah, start blowing your way in. Just start going.
I think
we're in.
We're in. Alright, I'll go.
Stay back. Everyone stay back. Stay back.
Brian, one shot me.
Yeah, one shot you. Of course it did.
Back in you just got fucking up obliterated.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
Where's the turret? Where's the turret?
I don't see.
Someone with a sniper go up close. Be very fucking careful.
Yeah, someone look with the sniper to see if you can see turrets.
If you haven't exposed a sniper, come down, yeah.
Getting it right now, give me 1 second.
I have an explosive sniper. Should I come down? Or is that not breaching?
It's dead. You genius. I fucking love you.
I can't believe this shit works so
Bro,
well.
Server backup started!
Holy shit.
Back up. Alright, everyone stop. We need to regroup again. Most people are dead or trying to grab their shit.
I need someone to come back to the front opening with my armor so I can jump over this.
You don't need armor to get there. You can parkour it.
Dude,
yeah, you can parkour it.
Can we destroy the spawn block and go back to spawn?
No, we're not going. We need to
just get the hell out of there and get to the base. I don't think he knows.
No, we're not getting out of the raid. We're continuing
the raid.
Yeah, we blast.
Keep pushing. We're back in beneath.
Yes.
Everyone who is in on the raid, keep going. Get back down here. Get your shit and keep fighting.
Bro, of course I died to lag, bro. That's annoying as hell.
Dude, I literally crashed, which is so upsetting.
I need my gear.
Should I fly back to the base, grab more guns, and come back?
No, you will not be able to make it back in time. We're continuing with what we have.
Okay, if you have rockets, we need to use it to drill a way forward, because we have no way right now.
What is left of their like? What lines are left?
I don't know, but let's keep going.
There is no
they
recovering from this.
Demolish everything.
Almost all of their bases just fucking gone.
I need food now. I'm gonna die. I need food right now.
They're like, it's exploits, it's exploits, it's exploits. Damn, that sucks, dude. We still breached.
And we're gonna do it again.
Zalgo just like directly DM'd Igbon. He's not even complaining in public servers anymore. He's like going straight to the source. What a cope, baby.
It's Jover. It's Jover.
It's over.
Yes. That's so Let's go, boys.
It's Jover.
Oh.
It's Zalgo.
It's Zalgo.
It's Zalgo.
It's Zalgo.
It's so Zalgo.
It's Zalgo.
The People's Grudge Society was successfully eliminated, in a pack that the PGS built specifically to troll people that did not play the PGS way, and by a team that started their progression from scratch just 5 days prior to attacking. Several hundred hours of chemical, biological, and technological progress reduced to nothing, years spent thinking about supersymmetry, and months spent actually developing it, only to get completely eliminated by a team of 16-year-olds from YouTube. The Republic of New Horizons and Republic of Greg would now have to defend against the FBI by themselves, and hope they could survive until the end of the server. The Balls Alliance would need a miracle to gain an advantage over the FBI.
I'm gonna pay my old friend a visit. V8. He was in the raid, no? I found his base on day 4. Gonna see if GGI is using his base.
Why did you not tell us this? We knew GGI's base all along?
I don't know if it's GGI's base. He was alone on day 4. But I noticed that he was raiding with GGI. So GGI might be using his base.
McCall, where the fuck is it?
Still trying to find entrance.
GGI member detected. Base confirmed. As it turns out, the Ron knew where the FBI were all along, since McCall found the troll base days ago but didn't tell anyone. And since the FBI kept their member list private, nobody knew that the troll team was related to wanted war criminals like Super Obama. But H's death message in chat while the FBI raided PGS made McCall suspicious, leading to the FBI's discovery. The reaction was pure chaos. Motivation was now at an all-time high. The remains of the Balls Alliance were now mobilizing. Except for the Republic of Greg, they would stay behind to manufacture more nukes to use against the FBI, and turn the FBI into a massive crater. Meanwhile, the Republic of New Horizons would begin rushing the FBI base. Whenever a team member died, they would simply respawn in the vault, grab equipment, and immediately fly to the FBI. Their plan was to simply rush into the FBI base using the kill everyone violently battle formation, with elytras, snipers, rocket launchers, explosives, and anything else that could do bodily harm. The result was this bloody catastrophe.
They're trying to breach. They're trying to breach. Log on.
Are our turrets on? Are our turrets on?
I don't know.
Okay, let's go.
How are them if they're not?
I don't think Michael's here. At the base. Right outside of me. He just tried to burn me alive.
I will be taking over control of the team tomorrow. This is the day I was waiting for. I will end the fuck out of GGI. No matter what. I'm not ending this event without at least having killed GGI. And fucking ending Super Obama.
Fuck them up, guys. Fuck them up. Fucking destroy them. We need to kill them, take their weapons, and run into the base so they can't get them back if we get killed.
Okay, I'm blowing it up. Get out of the way, get out of the way, Joshua, get out of the way.
Kamikaze, kamikaze, kamikaze.
Blowing up, holy shit, I'm blowing up, it's gonna blow up. God.
Exo.
What?
Exo.
Oh yeah, they use the Exo there.
They used the fucking.
No, I'm gonna die.
That's above our base.
Just pushed me into lava.
Sorry.
They literally killed themselves.
This is one of the ways ever.
With
No, there's one left. One left.
Keep on respawning and get minigun by him. What the fuck is he gonna do once he runs out of ammo? Just keep on going. Everyone just keep on going. Everyone just keep on going.
He died.
Nana, how did you get a minigun?
He died, we killed him!
I don't know.
We did it, Reddit.
I'm dead. I tried to hold them up as long as I could. They're incredibly delayed. Break in now.
Okay, I'm good. Who's at base right now? Who's there right now?
I'm at base right now.
He's fucking...
Dude, it's glorious spread, he has nothing!
I'm in lava.
Hey,
Good. Yeah, he spawns in there.
I'm coming.
No! It's fine. Starless, it's fine.
I'm still on fire. I can't say anything.
Zombies, I wanna know you are vital. Someone is shooting! Just place it anywhere. Stop.
What was the angle?
What the fuck is that, by the way?
Our storage is actually gone.
Zayna.
Our home block is gone.
Evelyn, clear comms.
The turret.
You guys were refusing to go to the vault, and I was willing to go to the vault.
What was your problem?
What happened?
Who was the player who like dug into our base, like rat tunneled into the?
He's still there. He's still in the base. Guys, we need to find where the clown is.
Yeah, someone find that clown.
Yeah, he's somewhere just ratting around, like a little rat man. Like the little rat man he is.
I just love that the clown did
like 3 hours.
with solo mining what Ron H couldn't do with like 10 people with rocket launchers and miniguns.
Yeah, like Ron H is so stupid.
Half of the FBI would be sent out to snipe, gas, and bomb attackers while the other half of the FBI were slaving away in the factory to constantly produce new weapons. While the Ron strategy was to just run into the FBI base and set off explosives, turning the FBI base into a game of Counter-Strike Global Offensive, except both sides were terrorists. And while the ROG managed to nuke the FBI mountain, it turns out they missed the actual base by about 100 meters, because when the ROG were given the coordinates to nuke, It turns out the coordinates were just the entrance to the FBI instead of the actual base, giving the FBI another day to live. The FBI had been so used to attacking other bases that they were not used to defending their own base. More Balls Alliance forces were gathering at the FBI base and killing everything and everyone. But the FBI would manage to barely hold them off until the server closed. Super Obama believed that dealing with the run would be easy, but there was a lot more fight in them than he anticipated. The run war machine proved to be effective, with weapons, explosives and other equipment seemingly grown from trees and rapidly sent out to soldiers flying to the FBI. Taking them down would ironically be a much bigger challenge than the PGS, which Obama previously thought would be the biggest problem. The Great War between the FBI and the Balls Alliance had just commenced, and the amount of violence on the final day of the server was beyond the imagination of anyone on the server. Fuck.
I found that 70% of our manual crafting room survived, the steam turbine was running, the MV machines were intact, and the central monitor could be powered.
What about Petrotchen? It is kind of offset. You know Zybo and I extended quite far behind Petrotchen.
Do you think it might be a good idea to apologize to Iblon for all the psychological stress we put him through?
I already did.
Though I am afraid I won't get any apologies for the vile shit people threw at me for the past 2 weeks. Let me assure you, it's enough to warrant extreme measures. I'm talking about which is enough to warrant a ban from the Supersymmetry Discord, and it might even result in bans from the Greg Tech Discord if... But yay, I had to forward some of those screenshots to the dev team.
There was an argument?
People trying to tell the leader pack dev what is and isn't an intended mechanic or exploit.
The things we trumbas wasn't an exploit. It was a feature you did not disable.
Okay, so Ghostopedia's hot take for the hour is...
These people actually hate each other, so it's not unexpected.
In fact, I'm incredibly intoxicated. I'm just to fuction Hyfern, and it's getting worse. The walls are moving, and this is getting greedy. Yo! Anyone got good ideas?
Eat cement.
Mako knew freedom of speech does not mean that I have to allow you on this server.
Should I leave this chat?
When Zalgo logged back onto a lava-filled hot tub, he was unsurprisingly pissed, and he would no longer play on this server. The remaining PGS members confirmed that the PGS base was completely destroyed. Zalgo would decide to retaliate by banning Super Obama, Chemboth, and everyone else involved in the attack, from the Supersymmetry and the Greg Tech Discord servers. But what would happen to the rest of the PGS members? Those who didn't rage quit would join the remaining teams for the last day of the server, or go off on their own to do whatever they wanted now that the PGS leadership was non-existent. The Republic of New Horizons would recruit most of the remaining PGS members and supply them with weapons. This would include Sailor, who would receive instructions to wait in the underground caves below the Ron base and wait to be picked up. However, due to Sailor having barely anything on him, he was now stuck in the beneath until a Ron member came to retrieve him. He would ask for assistance from the Balls Alliance. Sailor would gladly offer his help to the Balls Alliance, as long as someone rescued him. Unfortunately, his calls for help would be drowned out by the chaos that had ensued during the initial attacks against the FBI. Sailor was forgotten in the confusion, and so he waited, and waited, and waited, until he had enough. After all this time being in the PGS, Sailor snapped. He was going to help the FBI take down the Republic of New Horizons, with a friend. This whole time, Sailor was friends with Alien Killer, who was also planning to betray the team because he found Neo's authoritarian leadership to be hell. This betrayal came at a perfect time, because the FBI were currently planning an invasion of Naran. Barely anything was known about the insides of their base since there was basically no previous scouting of their headquarters. Therefore, Obama's prediction of what the Ron base looked like was 3 differently colored rectangles in Microsoft Paint. A rather minor inconvenience. However, Sailor would bring Alien Killer to the FBI base, who had actual experience with the Republic of New Horizons' base defenses. Alien Killer would explain what the inside of the base looked like, giving the FBI information on how to enter the base. You see, the sides, entrance, and top of the base was well defended, but the run missed a spot. It was easy to enter the run from the bottom simply by blowing a way in. So the plan was to use rocket launchers to dig an underground tunnel, and use the run into the base and destroy random bullshit formation, similar to the PGS strategy. While this was occurring, the FBI would distract the run by launching ICBMs at the top and sending in their army of autists to cause chaos on ground. But who was this army? The downfall of the PGS on day 13 motivated those who didn't like the Balls Alliance, and Super Obama would try to rally these aforementioned teams. Nama faction, the Islamic People's Republic of Greg, the Asbestos team, and blah blah blah. In total, this amounted to an army of approximately 50 randoms, each with their own equipment. This included the advanced weaponry the Balls Alliance had left behind after leaving Operation No More Factory. So basically, the plan was to have several autists distract the run on the outside while other autists exploded the run from the inside. I need names. Who do I need to gun down?
Go to Ron and shoot everyone who isn't GGI.
We kill them all. Nobody will live.
So we're blowing up power, going back to the old world. Alien unclaims it all, we claim it, and then he's disabling the turrets, correct?
Yep. Alright, you guys can come down now.
And this isn't loud at all. You're cutting it. What are you? You're cutting it a little fucking close. Stay in your lane, buddy.
Okay, stop for a second. Alright, move forward a little bit. Alright, now continue. I'm gonna make sure to call us whenever I need you guys to stop. Make sure you shoot high. Make sure you shoot high.
Yeah.
By the way, so this is what it felt like when we invaded your base and started blasting through.
It was fucking great. Should we go forward?
Hold on,
Yeah, go forward a little bit.
Nope.
We're about to hit their power supply. That's their power supply. That's their power supply. It's guarded by reinforced concrete though, so I don't think we're gonna be able to like actually hit it. But we can go around.
There's a way to get around.
Yeah, it's called our feet.
This is their elevator. This is how we get up to their base. Everyone equip your armor. Go up to the
Beneath. Be careful, be careful.
Hold on.
Let me speak. If you jump right now. Jump right now down that elevator.
I know. Hold on.
Okay, I go next. Okay. Okay. Go up.
Are you unclaiming?
Careful, I'm getting the... I'm not doing it yet. I'm waiting until you guys are ready.
Someone's opening just above us, directly above us.
Yeah, exactly, but they don't know we're here, or else they would freak the fuck out.
Go here.
Go here?
I don't see
Can we
anything.
just blow in?
Yeah.
What about this elevator? What are we gonna do about this elevator right here?
There's a bunch of machines there. Wait, who has the exothermics?
I do.
Right there, where Mac and you is, if you place an exothermic there, you will shred basically half the machine line.
Guys, let me
Wait,
the elevator behind you. The elevator behind you.
Michael's above us.
I did. I wanna place an exo.
Hey, directly in front of you, see where that thick cable is?
Yeah.
Place it there. That's where their machine line is.
Alright.
As high as possible.
Oh, I see their enemy system as well.
They're above us, and there's like grates. I don't know if they can shoot through these balustrades.
I can't light it.
But they can see through them, so
Oh,
even
there
if
you
we're
go.
shipping, they'll still
Go, run. Hard. Far.
Run. Far.
Squad out. Murder.
After getting bombarded by the FBI and their army of randoms, Alien Killer destroyed the Ron's central vault with the help of his friend Storyboard, deleting all of their weapons and armor. When the Ron discovered who betrayed them, they were stupefaction, pissed off, dismayed, and all of the above. Alien Killer was kicked from the team, but it was too late. This left the Ron without any possible equipment to continue assaulting the FBI. The only choice left was for the Ron to surrender, resulting in a decisive FBI victory. However, the Republic of Greg thought the FBI was defeated, because the Ron gave them information that they had successfully blown up the FBI for some reason, which was fact-checked false. But the FBI would pretend to be defeated and pretend to cope about losing. So the satisfied Rogue would leave the server, thinking they won. In the meantime, FBI member 8 was curious. He asked Regen where the Rogue were, a question that would actually be answered. After seeing how the PGS reacted to the fall of the PGS, Regen now had a hatred for the PGS. And he would betray their alliance by leaking the coordinates of the Rogue, before going back to his retirement because he didn't really care about what was happening in the rest of the server anymore. Just like that, all of the operational security of the Republic of Greg, and all of their efforts spent staying hidden, were gone. The FBI would then react to this information by sending Wandering Hero with a rocket launcher and several stacks of rockets. His mission was rather self-explanatory. The former Balls Alliance was now the massive Crater Alliance. The FBI had won. One of the longest-lasting rivalries on the server was now finally over after a series of betrayals, bombings, and raids. But what would the FBI do now? Not even Super Obama knew. The FBI succeeded at getting revenge. There were no more lands to conquer, leaving behind the sense of emptiness. They would not participate in any more raids together. They would not need to defend their base as a team any longer. They would not have to grind anymore. The fun was over. They had reached the light at the end of the tunnel, only to realize that there was nothing beyond. So the FBI would leave the server, now that there was nothing left to do, allowing PGS member Brubaru to walk in and destroy the FBI base by himself. Now all that was left to do, was for the remaining teams to watch the dust settle. The biggest remaining team now, was Humanity First. Olivier's plan to dodge the fallout of the Hyper War was a success, and everyone was relaxing in the final hours of the event. Humanity First had finally acquired extreme voltage, and they decorated their base with various objects such as walruses and decorative large bronze boilers, basically whatever they felt like doing in the final hours. But most people had already logged off since they thought the event was basically over, and that Humanity First remained victorious. But not if someone had anything to say about it. That someone was Dr. Biko, and also person unnamed. The sadness of leaving Rhode Island yesterday had left their brains by now. This was replaced by a new emotion known as anger. They suddenly began to realize how they had just been treated by Olivier, but they couldn't do anything about it. Not with 3 furnaces and approximately 6 pieces of coal. So Penguin Logistics would contact an old friend from the FBI, Corridora. After explaining what had happened, Corridora would agree that the coup of Rhode Island was unfair. So in a final act of betrayal, Dr. Biko would task Corridora with trolling Humanity First. Because if they couldn't have Rhode Island, nobody would, and this was the plan. Steal half of the machines of Humanity First, kill a bunch of random people, and leave. So Corridora would load his guns, and embark on one last journey to Rhode Island. Just a few hours before the server closed, Humanity First and Penguin Logistics would go for one final hit at each other, leading to the rather anticlimactic destruction of Penguin Logistics, and the crippling of Humanity First. Olivier was so close to having Humanity First survive the final war, and it had just been ruined by Penguin Logistics. The following events were Olivier's reaction to that information. Olivier realized that in the end, all of his actions and attempts to protect the team had led to this outcome anyways. And he finally decided to give up. Olivier would abandon the base, leaving only a few signs in case anyone else decided to visit. And this is what they said.
Death, madness and cruelty were and always will be a part of this world. Yet here I stand, a madman who wants to go against that. To go against nature itself, to fight for his species and for the safety of the people he loves and cares for. How far am I willing to go just to achieve that goal? Will I backstab somebody if it means the safety of this team? Will I lie, cheat, and do everything in my power, if it means my people stay safe? The things I've done, the things I've said, was it truly the best path to take? Only God can be the judge of that. For only in death, do men see the true extent of their actions and their consequences.
Over the past 14 days, we have seen teams form, collapse, combine forces, explode, and all of the above, and in the end, it all amounted to nothing. The teams would use their technological progress to take away the progress of other teams, and nobody won in the end. The world would not see anyone reach outer space, invent anything more advanced than extreme voltage, or see world peace. The only surviving team at this point was the Knights of Morbius. Everyone was so busy destroying each other, that they ignored the only team that was building in the end. The last few days of building done by Regen and GDCM had finally paid off. The final bricks were placed, the last window installed, the last flowers planted in the garden, the church was completed. There was less than 1 hour left until the event ended, and GDCM decided that now was the best time to make his church public. He gave the coordinates of his church to everyone else still alive in public chat. Nobody had anything by this point, but with nothing else to do and nowhere else to go, they would come to the church, not to attack, but to spend the last moments of the event in peace.
As we stand here, with 15 minutes till the event ends, we are reunited here, not in war, but in peace. As we are all from different factions, and we come to this single place, under the same roof, we can all see that our efforts, we have achieved greatness not through war, but through creativity and building. And that and as we sit here, fuck, I don't know what to say. Anyone wants to say anything? I think I've said enough.
As a Norwegian man once said, when you think about it, the most peaceful world is the one where everyone is dead.